All right, let's get right into it. Today we are breaking down one of the most legendary self-help books of all time, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Now you have to remember, this book came out in 1937, right in the thick of the Great Depression. So it wasn't just some get-rich-quick guide. For a lot of people, it was a psychological lifeline when everything else seemed to be falling apart.
Hill kicked things off by tackling a huge problem, and this quote just says it all. See, he wasn't just fascinated by success, he was absolutely obsessed with understanding failure. He needed to know why so many people could try so hard with the best intentions and still come up short. And the scale of this problem, it was just staggering. After studying thousands of people for over 20 years, Hill came to a shocking conclusion. A full 98% of them were what he classified as failures. I mean, that is a wild number. It suggests that for most of us, failure isn't just bad luck, it's the default setting. The question that drove his entire life's work was, why?
So what is it? What's the thing that holds so many of us back from what we want? Well, Hill didn't just point his finger at the problem. He diagnosed it. He actually identified 31 major reasons for failure, basically creating a checklist for you to see where you might be tripping yourself up.
You know, what's crazy is how relevant this list still feels, almost 100 years later. He pointed to things like not having a clear purpose. He called that the #1 cause of failure. Then you've got good old procrastination and a lack of persistence, giving up too soon. He even called out things like the fear of criticism and the problems that can come from choosing the wrong partner in life. Do any of those sound a little familiar?
So for this massive, widespread problem of failure, Hill offered up an equally massive solution. He truly believed he had cracked the code, that he distilled the secrets of the world's most successful people. We're talking titans like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison, and put it all into a single philosophy.
And right here, this is the heart of the entire philosophy. The idea is that your thoughts aren't just these little passive clouds floating around in your head. No, they are powerful, tangible forces. And when you take a thought and you mix it with a definite purpose, with real persistence and a burning desire, it can literally become a magnet, attracting the real-world thing you're aiming for.
Okay, so how in the world do you actually do that? Well, it all starts with your inner game. Before you can build anything on the outside, you have to get your mind right on the inside. This is where Hill brings in these foundational ideas like desire, faith, and autosuggestion. These are the tools for basically reprogramming your own mind. And this is where the mental work gets super practical. Hill didn't just say, just want it really badly. He laid out a very specific 6-step formula to turn a vague wish into a concrete target. You have to know the exact amount you want, what you're willing to give for it, and the exact date you'll have it by. Then you make a plan, you write it all down, and, this is key, you read that statement out loud every single day to drill it into your subconscious mind.
And hey, if you're thinking that sounds a little out there, just take a look at this. This is a real statement written by Bruce Lee himself, found in his journals. He followed Hill's formula almost perfectly. A definite goal, what he would give for it, a start date, and a specific amount of money. He turned a wish into a signed contract with himself.
So once you've got that inner game locked in, the focus shifts to the outside world, to action. This is where you take that mental blueprint and you start building a real-world strategy with principles like specialized knowledge, organized planning, and decision.
Now, this is a really important distinction that Hill made. He argued that general knowledge, the stuff you learn in school, isn't very useful for actually building wealth because it's usually just a big unorganized pile of facts. Specialized knowledge, though, that's focused, it's practical, and it's aimed at a specific goal. And that is the kind of knowledge that successful people never, ever stop looking for.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Having a head full of facts is useless. Real power only comes when you apply focused knowledge through a concrete plan. So it's not about what you know, it's about how you organize and use what you know. All right, now we get to what Hill called the absolute hub of his entire philosophy. He believed this one principle was so powerful, it could speed up your success more than anything else you could possibly do on your own. He called it the mastermind. And really, it's about creating a small, trusted group of people who are all working towards a shared goal in a spirit of harmony. The whole idea is that you get to borrow and use the experience, the training, and the influence of everyone in the group to help you reach your goal faster. I mean, listen to that claim. It's huge. Hill believed the mastermind worked on 2 levels. First, the economic one is obvious. You share resources, you share knowledge, but he also believed in this psychic dimension. that when two or more minds come together in perfect harmony, they create this invisible third mind, a new force that can tap into ideas and insights you'd never get on your own. So here we have this incredibly powerful, detailed blueprint for success. But like with so many of these larger-than-life stories, there's a bit of a catch. The reality behind the curtain is a little more complicated.
But first, let's just be clear about the impact here. We're talking over 70 million copies sold. For almost a century, this book has inspired countless entrepreneurs, athletes, and regular people to completely change their thinking and go after their goals. You just can't deny its legacy.
And here's where the story takes a twist. The man who literally wrote the book on how to achieve wealth and success, well, he might not have been the best student of his own teachings. Yeah, when you actually dig into the historical record, a very different picture of Napoleon Hill starts to form. That famous meeting with Andrew Carnegie that started it all, historians can't find a single shred of evidence that it ever actually happened. On top of that, Hill's own life was filled with accusations of fraud, serious money problems, and several failed marriages, a big contrast to the life of harmony and success he wrote about. And this leads us to a really fascinating question, right? If the guy who created these principles had a hard time living by them himself, does that make the principles worthless? Can a great idea still be true and powerful, even if the person who came up with it was, well, flawed?
In the end, it doesn't really matter if Hill was a saint or a bit of a scammer. His core idea forces every one of us to look in the mirror. The whole philosophy of Think and Grow Rich comes down to this. Your reality is a direct reflection of your deepest beliefs. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What is the one belief, good or bad, that is shaping your reality right now?